In previous editions of Dragon Ball In Depth, I have examined and analyzed the comparisons between Dragon Ball and Toriyama's previous smash hit, Dr. Slump. But if one were to look at the career of Akira Toriyama as a giant club sandwich, in between these two pieces of high-quality toast lie a few delicious strips of bacon. How's that for an analogy? One of these strips, pun intended, is the true precursor to Dragon Ball. We're talking about Dragon Boy. And to find out more, stay tuned.
この放送はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
As the story goes, back in 1983, a year before Dragon Ball began, editor Kazuhiko Torishima suggested, or maybe ordered, Akira Toriyama to draw a kung fu comic after he discovered Toriyama's love of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan movies. In response, Toriyama drew two one-shot short stories where he basically took the humor from Dr. Slump and combined it with a martial arts approach. Toriyama was quoted in Daizenshu Volume 2 that his goal was to tell an unconventional and contradictory story. Some things never change. There are a number of striking resemblances between Dragon Boy and the very early portions of Dragon Ball. Dragon Boy follows the story of a very young and skilled martial artist named Tang Tong from Sage Country who has to escort a princess back to the Kanokuni, also known as Flower Country. When we first meet Tang Tong, he is seemingly alone in the wilderness, but we quickly discover that his Kung Fu sensei sends him on the aforementioned quest. Tang Tong, very much like Goku, is an isolated boy who is a bit confused about the opposite sex. And yes, his martial arts master rides on a Quinton cloud. When Tang Tong meets the princess, we immediately see that she's very spoiled, very reminiscent of Bulma. Along the way, Tang Tong and the princess encounter a creature named Poirot. No, that's not Poirot. That's Bin Yao, who can also shapeshift with a 3-minute time limit. Maybe Bin Yao went to the same shapeshifting school that Poirot and Oolong attended. You know, the same one that's never been referenced again in Dragon Ball. Anyways, Bin Yao warns them of a monster that guards the bridge. This monster, whom is actually a robot guardian, looks quite a bit like a combination of Oolong's night form and the skull robot that Goku battled in the pirate cave. Bin Yao uses his shape-shifting abilities to trick the robot into allowing our heroes to pass, but all the princess cares about is that she peed her pants. So Bin Yao shape-shifts into some clothes for her to wear, but after the 3-minute time limit is up, she ends up in her birthday suit. Classic Toriyama. But of course, the most notable connection between the two series is that Tang Tong has a magical object given to him by his master, a ball that contains a dragon inside that is supposed to help in battle but really ends up being pretty useless, which is the polar opposite of the Dragon Balls used in the series that we all love. Part 1 of Dragon Boy was originally published in the June 23, 1983 issue of Fresh Jump, while Part 2 was published in September 22, 1983, and the fan response was very favorable. Dragon Boy never received an anime adaptation and has become a bit of a rarity outside of Japan, with only a few translations out there. But even though most of the fan base had no idea it existed, its importance in shaping what Dragon Ball would become cannot be ignored. I believe that with Dragon Boy, Toriyama quickly gained the confidence in his ability to draw attractive fight sequences in his comics along with his trademark humor, and would segue his talents and his ideas into what would become his defining international success and what many consider to be his true legacy, Dragon Ball. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you down the road. Remember to subscribe and also follow me on Twitter and other social media. Check out my website and communicate with me directly.